Crack attack. JD Nigel, word of truth. Crack attack. Oh boy. I'm tired and kind of worn out. And I wanted to do this really difficult lesson. Now I feel like I got to do it, even though I'm not sure if I'm up for it, but I'm going to give it a go. So the law of first mention, JD Nigel, word of truth. Welcome. Prayers to all of you. Blessings. The Lord loves you. Don't forget, if He wants you to know Him as best as you can. He wants you to know Him. Because He knows you. He already knows you. Don't you want to know Him? Duh. So the law of first mention. Part of the reason people have a hard time understanding the Bible, reading the Bible, understanding the themes and the context of the story, there's something that's called the law of first mention, and I'm not going to necessarily look into it as far as Google and all that. You can probably find it if you really want to look into it. Biblical law of first mention. So I'm going to go backwards because that's kind of how I do things, right? So in Revelation, we're talking about, of course, my tribe, Benjamin. And we're talking about a place where Saul was made king, a place where Samuel, the seer, right here, they're looking for Samuel. And the servant inquired of Saul and said, "Behold, I have a shekel of silver for the man of God. Let's go so he can tell us to find our way." Because verse 9, 1 Samuel 9, before time in Israel, when a man went to inquire of God, thus he spoke, "Come, let us go to the seer." The word seer, the one that has vision, the first fruit. So when you think of, this is where I forgot to say, when you think of the first fruits, why did God call them my first fruits? He's trying to give you a clue, people. Believers, Israel, He's giving you a clue, first fruits. Why does He say that? Because that's pointing to the law of first mention. So the first fruits came first. They were mentioned first, so when He spoke, JD Nijah, way back, old soul, I was one of the first fruits, so I understand the law of first mention. I was mentioned first, so I know that's how you are who you are. So part of this thing, how it fits in with the Bible that has been bugging me for a while, is how people don't realize the law of first mention with Saul being the first king of Israel. There's things that are said in here about when Saul becomes king, that the law of first mention means the Lord can't change what He said first. He put us in a time-bound place so everything fits in a puzzle like. So He can't say something first in the beginning. The first words were in the beginning. Why does He say that? Because that's the first of the fruits. That's the first of the first. That's the first of the story, in the beginning. So the law of first mention is where a lot of, especially the black Hebrew Israelites, are you kidding me? They have no respect for the law of first mention. They don't even have that in their mind, and that's another example of someone claiming to be something they're not. You can't be a prophet and not know the law of first mention. Because you wouldn't be a seer. The reason you can see further, you have a vision, you're a prophet, you're prophetic, is because been there, done that. You've seen it over, and over. And so in the last days, it's becoming obvious to the prophets what's going on here in this book. And it's not what most people think. That's the weird thing, is like, wow, we're starting to see it totally different. See it totally different. Buckwheat. So these things are coming to us. The law first mentioned, first fruits. What's it mean? First fruits, you were the first. You're the first. Abraham came first. Isaac, Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then the 12 tribes. First, Reuben. Last, Benjamin. Boom, 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 boom. And these last born of the tribes, but first to be king. There's a bouncing back and forth too, where the first will be last and the last will be first. This, you tell me everything you know about that, and I bet you're not even scratching the surface. I'm dirty from digging weeds. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's mysteries of this Bible that, are you fucking, come on, sir? Really? So let's look at Ramah. So Samuel was from Ramah. And they went to the city. Saul went to Ramah. Samuel and Saul meet. Let's see if it says anything about Ramah. So when it first mentions Ramah back here, Saul chosen to be king, it says, Samuel judges Israel. Samuel judged Israel all the days of his life. Judged Israel all the days of his life. From the time he got there till the time he went away, he was the one in control. He was number one. Understand? He was number one. How could he pick the king? Because he was God's number one. And this is how we know there's order. There are people that are above you. I hate to say it. And I don't want to sound like I'm boasting, but I probably know more about the Bible than most of you. Just because of who I am. I can't not know it. And so I'm trying to teach these things, but it's hard to teach because people are like, what does that matter? What matters is if you learn how to read the Bible right, you'll find yourself in there. The Lord will lead you to yourself. And he went from year to year from Bethel to Gilgal to Mizpah and judged Israel in all those places. And his return was to Ramah. Why did he return to Ramah when it says he returned? Because that's where he started. Understand? So this message is working out. I didn't know that the Lord was going to come up alongside me like he does. I felt really lonely there for a minute. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's returning to Ramah, the first guy, the first prophet, the first kingmaker, the first of that type that went from judge to kingmaker to prophet. Samuel, number one. He's the man. Like Moses was the man, like Joshua was the man, like David was the man, like Saul was the man. There's always the man. And when Samuel, he went from just being a judge to being a prophet to being a kingmaker. So this is where we see, why was he in Ramah, people? Why Ramah? Let's go to, I'm telling you, I'm trying to put this stuff together. I don't know. I'm just teaching. We're just studying the Bible together, right? Revelation 14. These are the things that, well, people are like, why does that matter? Because I say so. Redeemed with the Lamb. Redeemed with the Lamb. Revelation 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000. I didn't pull this up. I just pulled it up right now. I'm trying to make a point. Having his Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, as the voice of great thunder, and I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. What did John hear? He heard a lot. Not only are you a seer, you can hearken, you're hearing something, right? And they sung as it were a new song. He heard the song of the 144. He could understand the law of first mention. He's like, man, I remember that sound. You know what that sound was? That was the sound of the beginning, in the beginning. Same sound. Same sound. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before, as it were a new song. As if it were, as it were. No. Nothing new under the sun, baby. And before the four beasts and the elders, no man could learn the song, but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the land of God. For some reason, I didn't get this right. Again. Huh. That's odd. All right, we'll go to Matthew. It's somewhere in Revelation, I'm pretty sure. Let me go to 1. Sorry about that. Everything falls apart pretty quick, doesn't it? When you don't write down the right stuff. 1 through 5. No, I'm not going to go there. So let's go to Matthew. J.D. Nija. It says what it says, and I looked where I said I looked. Anyway, let's go to Matthew. Slakia. What a goofball. Matthew 2. This is the point I was trying to make. And it says it in a few places. This is 2:13 through 18. You better have it right here. I'm going to be bumming. Okay. So, the flight to Egypt. And when he departed, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, "Arise and take the young child to Egypt." And when he arose, he took the child and his mother by night to Egypt. This is when they took Jesus to Egypt, right? And he was until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, "Out of Egypt have I called my son." Right? So that goes back to law of first mention, too. There's a scripture there. Somewhere back in Moses or Deuteronomy or something. "Out of Egypt I have called my son." Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was wroth and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem. Why did he slay them all in Bethlehem? Because he knew that the Lord had to come out of Bethlehem. Just like Benjamin, just like Samuel. Law of first mention. You go to Ramah. And there's a start there. There's a start there. That's the point I'm trying to make. Ramah. Samuel returned to Ramah. Why return to Ramah? Because this place is the place where the kingmakers are, right? He's a kingmaker. He made Saul king. And then he made David king. So he was the seer who turned prophet, that turned Saul into a prophet. If I have time, I'll get there. And they killed all the children 2 years and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, "In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping, and great mourning." Mourning, weeping, crying, lamenting, sad, the end of the world. Prophecy. This is sad. We have to give up our lives to get back to heaven because this place is done and judgment is on us. Oh, I'm going to get raptured, man. I'm going to just fly. I'm just going to fly away. In Ramah, there was a voice. Yeah. Rachel has something to say about that. In Ramah, there was a voice heard of lamentation, weeping, and great mourning. Rachel weeping for her children and would not be comforted because they are not. So it says it in Matthew, right? Ramah. She's crying in Ramah. Why? Because when they brought the ark back, they brought it to Kiriath Jearim, Benjamin, Judah. I'm just saying, These are the things that people are like, they're so stupid they don't even care. I'm trying to make a point that there's a law of first mention, and that's how you follow the story. Why is there prophecy right here all over? And then he said it's again in Revelation, but I couldn't find it. But let's go to Jeremiah, see what Jeremiah, the weeping prophet, has to say about Ramah. Let's see. Let's get this. Not trying to be a dick, just pointing out something that drives the crap batshit out of me, because people don't know how to read the Bible. They don't know the first thing about literature. These schools have dumbed people down to the point where probably can't even understand what I'm trying to say. Jeremiah 31:15. Right here. The redemption of Israel. Yeah. The redemption of Israel. Judah, Benjamin. Benjamin the prophet. Judah the kings. Ephraim. The two brothers. Joseph, Benjamin. Ramah. Jesus. Get it? Let's see what it says. And hear the word, O nations, and declare it in the isles. He that scattered Israel will gather him and keep him as a shepherd does his flock. For the Lord has redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Therefore they shall come up and sing in the heights of Zion. See how that fits? What was that whole part back there in Matthew? They're coming and they're singing a new song. It's not new. As it were a new song. Same song. If you're of the first fruits, you remember that song. You're like, I remember this song. This is the same one in the beginning, same one we sang. Because that's how law of first mention works. Whatever's mentioned first, there's something that you'll find later on. Let me continue reading in Jeremiah 31. And shall flow together to the goodness of the Lord. This is the wheat. They're gathering the wheat. The goodness of the Lord for wheat and for wine and for oil and for the young of the flock and of the herd, and their soul shall be a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more. Then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance, the young men and old together, and I will turn their mourning. Right? You go back to the back, mourning, weeping, lamenting, Rachel, right? Sad. Sad. They killed a bunch of our people. Herod killed a bunch of my family in fucking Bethlehem. Why am I so about this? Why? Because that's my family, man. How you feel about your family, man? And I will satiate the soul of the priests with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, said the Lord. Thus said the Lord, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted for her children because they were not. Do you think any of this nonsense these bugged out Israelites are saying or giving me anything? Nothing. There's nothing there that's going to calm me down. I'm on fire. I'm going to continue to be on fire. I know the book. I know the people. I know my mom, Rachel, Mary. I know. She knows me. Forever. Forever. You think I'm lying? You think I'm just, oh, fuck, that guy's crazy. He must be drinking. Have a little yayo. Should have seen me digging weeds. Thus said the Lord, refrain thy voice from weeping and thine eyes from tears. For thy work shall be rewarded, said the Lord, and they shall come again from the land of thy enemy. And hope is and there is hope in thine end, said the Lord, that thy children shall come again to their own border. And then it goes into mercy on Ephraim, and then it goes into the new covenant. In this prophecy, Jeremiah foresees the new covenant that God will make with mankind by extending his grace to the Gentiles. Hello, GMS, you fucking wicked motherfuckers. That's why they don't want to believe in the new covenant, because the new covenant involves the Gentiles. It says it right there. I mean, I believe it too. That's why GMS is against the new covenant. Congratulations, Spiritual Life Lessons. You beat them up again. You guys, even you guys are beating up on GMS. That's how weak those guys are. They're falling apart, man. They're falling apart at the seams. "21 minutes. Revelation. God, I can't believe I blew that one. 14. Maybe it was 14:15. Let me see if I can find it. Revelation 14:15. I might have. I don't know. So the law of first mention. If you don't understand that the law of first mention, that's what the first fruits are. If you don't understand that, you're never going to understand the Bible. That's why I told you before, the first and the last. I am the beginning and the end. I am the first and the last. He's the first word and the last word. He's the first word of the Old Covenant, Old Testament, and the last word of the Old Testament. And he's the first word of the New Testament and the last word of the New Testament. If you look at those words, it's in curses, the book agrees. So does it sound like we're going to get raptured out of here and it's going to be all roses and peach cobbler? Come on, sir. In curses, the book agrees. I don't know. First and last sounds like it could be trouble for people that think, "Oh man, I know God. I'm faithful. I'm this, I'm that." Dude, you are what you are. And you can't be trying to claim things you're not. Revelation 14:1-5. Or 14:15. Nope, doesn't say it there either. Interesting. I screwed up that one. I think I'm going to come back and look for other examples of that Rama. So maybe I'll go to let's go back to Samuel when Samuel was, and then I'll pull up some more Rachel stuff. Israel demands a king. Law of first mention. Israel demands a king. And this is what Samuel warns Israel. And he said, "This will be the manner of king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, captains over 50s, and he will set them to his ear to the ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers, and he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed, and he will take your vineyards, and he will give them to the officers and to his servants, and he will take your manservants, and he will take your maidservants, and he will take your goodliest men and your asses, and put them to his work, and he will take the tenth of your sheep, and he will be unto him as servants, and you shall cry out in that day, because your king, which he shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day." King David, you really want King David? You don't want any king over you. He said, I will be your God and you will be my people if you aren't fucking wicked and stupid. And what do? Oh, I think we'll get our own king. We want a king like everyone else. No, you don't. No, you don't. So, I'm going to come back. I'm going to look for that scripture in Revelation, Rama, Rachel, and I'm sure there's a couple other places. What I'm saying is the law first mentioned. Rama, Samuel, kings, start of this crap. You want a king? You'll get a king. And then we'll come back and I'll show you what happens with the law first mentioned having to do with Saul, you wicked Pharisees that don't understand shit. I'll be back. JD Niger, Word of Truth.